let's address something real quick. It's a dark and stormy night. There's fucking lightning pittering, pattering outside. The rain is coming down. You're at a funeral for February. You weren't the best of friends with February. But you knew February. It was okay, right? But you're there with all of February's quarters, right? February's family, February's friends. You give a little wave. There's refreshments, but they're not too refreshing. Everyone's wearing black. Everyone's sad, right? And then lightning crashes on the outside, right? And then you hear something. What do you hear? You hear a rap, tap, tap at the door. Rap, tap, tap. Rap, tap, tap. Everyone looks. They're like, I don't understand what's happening right now. Everyone who is supposed to be here for the funeral February, they're already here. Who could possibly be at the door? And so you go over the door and you peek through the eye hole and there's no one out there. But you still hear the rap, tap, tap. What is happening? And so slowly, you creak open. And you open the door. And who greets you? But Anime Dartboard, the segment of the podcast where we talk about a maximum 350-minute anime that is randomly selected and is also English dubbed. Last month, we selected Kiznaiver. Hell, that is right. Of course, now, we do not need to know... we do not need to do a plot synopsis of Kiznaiver because, of course, everyone who is watching this podcast has already watched Kiznaiver. And also, if you're watching this segment on the fucking Shouting Through the Chorus channel, you have also watched Kiznaiver. Actually, weirdly enough, I think it's because my dumb fucking face is on it. No one actually watches the Anime Dartboard episodes on Shouting the I get like 20 to 50 views per average on every other video on my channel, but the second I upload Anime Dartboard, no one gives a shit. It's fucking funny. If you're watching it, you're a real one. Anyway, yeah, Kiznaiver. Of course, everyone watched Kiznaiver. And so, Zach, what are your thoughts on the artwork of H.R. Giger? You know what? I will come back around to that at the end of Anime Dartboard because I think it is a perfect derailment. Anyway, so my thing about Kiznaiver is kind of famous for being probably Studio Trigger's first miss. And I can totally see why. I was not a big Kiznaiver fan, and I think Trigger was completely out of the fucking element when they tried to make Kiznaiver. Because what this basically is a sort of like complicated teen coming-of-age romance drama. And fucking Jesus Christ, were they not ready to make that. I mean, they kind of did it with like Kill la Kill, but they did that from like an absurdist aspect when they did Kill la Kill. Whereas this tries to play itself too straight. And the problem is, like, Kiznaiver requires, storytellers who are willing to play things realistic and down-to-earth, and that is not Trigger. Trigger is all about absurdism. Trigger is all about, like, ostentatiousness. Trigger is all about, like, being in your face and loud and exciting. They're very good at, like, action. They're very good at, like, dynamic animations. Character drama is not what I would associate with Studio Trigger. And I think they really got out of their depth when they tried to do this, is the big thing. Like, I think the characters are too out there, too crazy, too wild, too, in some areas, archetypical in order to properly deliver the story. And I have to sort of agree with a Crunchyroll comment that I saw when I was watching this on Crunchyroll, which is that the moral of Kiznaiver is that emotional communism doesn't work. And, like, yeah, of fucking course emotional communism doesn't work. It's a stupid idea on paper. I think there are storytellers, I think there are studios that could have done it. But I don't think Trigger was the one to try and do this. I don't think the Trigger creators, which spawned off of, like, a dissatisfaction with Gainax, were the ones to do it. I think the two studios that could have pulled this off are KyoAni think Kyoto Animation could have like done a Kiznaiver story pretty well, and I definitely would have given this over to PA Works, because emotional character drama is sort of those two studios' jam. I think they could have done a fantastic job, but I think Trigger is just not. I think like, even if you look at other Trigger failures, like Darling in the Franxx, for example. Like, Darlene in the Franxx is at least interesting in concept, whereas emotional communism requires such a degree of level of writing quality for the characters and their interactions and their dynamics that I feel like Kiznaiver just doesn't fully explore or get into. I think the characters are too out there and too different. In order to actually like properly explore the themes. I think if they were more realistic, and I'm usually the last person that says like a series needs more realism, but Kiznaiver needed more grounding and realism in order to make itself work, and I think I think it just doesn't. I think it does not get there. I also think it's a little short. I think it underexplores its topic. Because the idea is that they're only Kiznaivers for the first summer, and then they disconnect, and then you have that scene in the rain where they're all screaming, "I'm in pain," because they're all feeling each other's emotional traumas, and I think this definitely needed more time in the oven. Like, instead of just summer, I think a full year would have worked better. Even with like the craziness of the characters, I think at least an extension in time where we get to see more character arcs. I feel like they're undercooked. I felt like they were underdeveloped. I felt like the plot went by too quickly. I feel like there's a lot of issues. I think the end game, where who turned out to be the villain where like the villain turned out to be like the girl that was causing the experiments, I think that's totally justified, but I think we needed more lead up to that. I think we needed more foreshadowing with her relationship with the main character. I definitely think that Kiznaiver needed more time to cook, or a different studio. Like I said, PA Works or KyoAni could have pulled this off, but like Trigger doesn't have the staff to write a character dynamic, like heavy focus on this. Like, it's the problem is it's like awkward is the thing. It's too muted to be a Studio Trigger work based on like their other works, like fucking Inferno Cop or Kill la Kill or like Space Patrol Lulico, but it's too like it's too understated, right? But in order to make like intense character drama work, it's too over the top. Like, they hit that sweet spot of just not functional is the problem. And yeah, I think Kiznaiver was a fucking mess. I can see why it's considered to be like, because at least when Darling in the Franxx is fucking bad, it's bad in a semi-interesting way. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Kiznaiver is sort of just like bad in a bad way. Like you can see what they were going for, and they didn't fucking pull it off. Like, Kiznaiver was a botch at the bare minimum. What were your opinions on Kiznaiver? Because you all definitely watched it. Leave that shit in chat or in the comments, depending on whether you're watching live or you're watching the video. I'm being ironic. I know no one's going to chat anything, because I know no one watched Kiznaiver like you were fucking supposed to, because no one participates at Dartboard. Alright. Let's get on with this shit. As a reminder, when I pull up the Wheel of Names, I will not be able to read... I will be able to read chat. I'm a liar. I can actually see it on my OBS. Don't let me lie to you. Here we go. Wheel of Names. We're going to shuffle. 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 Oh, I watched a bunch of Garbo. I mistook this for Meikaku City Actors. Meikaku City Actors, that's fair, by the way, might actually be on this list. I actually think Meikaku City Actors is on the Dartboard list. So, best case scenario, you're prepared for next month. And click. I hope this is either Meikaku City Actors or Rin Daughters of Mezzanine. This is the tennis anime, right? Upote? I think Upote is the tennis anime. Yeah, this is definitely the tennis anime. Upote is animated by Studio Zebek. That does not say Upote, does it? Actually, it might. It actually does. I'm stupid. This is an action comedy ecchi theme military demographic setting. So this is adult men only for clear 24 episodes. This doesn't look like this would be a 24 episode anime. This looks like this would be a 12-minute episode anime. There's also another series called Upote Warate, which is an OVA bundled with the 4th volume of the manga. The girls here are kind of chunky. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because they're animated. But they definitely seem a little chunky. Adult men only. Well, it's a good thing I have no interest in tennis. This is also clearly tennis. What with this fucking giant assault rifle? This is clearly a tennis thing. This is directed by Takao Kato, who also directed... He did the sound effects for Princess Mononoke. That actually is an accomplishment. He directed To Love Ru. He directed Pandora Hearts. He directed this thing. He was the chief director of whatever this is, which is on my plane to watch list. More Than a Married Couple, But Not Lovers, which was a 2022 anime. So this man is still in the business. Good for fucking him. He directed Triage X, which I don't know. He directed Basu Renkin. This man has been around a while. This man clearly... I would say this man is like B tier. As far as like if we look at like what caliber of anime, he's clearly like generally in charge of B tier anime. Like not C tier where everyone hates it, but clearly like not like top billing, you know? So we have Rot.exe, which is Mega Man Battle Network. That's Mega Man Battle Network. One of the worst video games I've ever played. He did... What else did he do? He did Bakuratsu Hunters OVA. Good for him. He was an assistant director on Blue Seed. He's been around for a while, actually. This is not a rookie director. This is very clearly like a B-list director. He's like the Lucy Liu of directors. He did Gedling, which I have seen Gedling, and I want you to know that, remember I mentioned I have a stock of Garbo anime to be released? I didn't say this. I have a stock of Garbo anime to be released. Like I have 10 Garbo anime to be released in the event that I don't manage to watch an anime in a week, and Gedling is one of these. Oh, I remember Gedling. This is about the fairy girl. Yeah. He directed Gedling. He's fine then, I guess. Anyway, Upote. What the fuck is Upote about? Let's get on with it. Kiss. Bang Bang. The arms race takes on a startling new development when the arms come with heads and legs and very feminine bodies attached. Let's be real. If an AK had a vagina, I'd fuck it. Ha ha! Yes, at Seisho Academy, every girl is literally a lethal weapon, and they're all gunning for the top shot at their own personal servicemen. Needless to say, it's going to be difficult for a newly recruited human instructor, Genkoku, to adjust working with a living arsenal of high-caliber cuties with tricky names like FNC, Funko, M16, A for Ichiroku, L85A1 Iru, and SG550 Shigu. Especially, you can tell I've never heard of these guns because I had said them wrong. Especially since many have hair triggers and there's no bulletproof vest that can stop determined co-ed. Stop a really determined go-ahead. I was actually going to criticize the grammar of this synopsis, and then I realized I just read it wrong because I was drunk. He'll have to rewrite the operator's manual on the student-teacher relationships and pray that his job description won't include having a field strip and reassemble one of his cassettes in the dark. But unfortunately for him, FNC's already thinking about becoming his personal weapon, and she's unusually gets what she's aiming for. So this sounds like the plot of a super niche visual novel. It's an ONA based on a manga, licensed by Sentai Filmworks. So good fucking luck watching it, assholes. Huh? Oh no, never mind. It's streaming on Crunchyroll. Never mind. You'll be able to watch it without any problem. All right. So the basic, from what I'm getting from this, is it's an ONA. It's streaming on Crunchyroll. You can watch this on Crunchyroll. And the idea is anthropomorphic guns want to fuck their teacher and they're in high school. And specifically, FNC really, really wants to fuck her teacher. Now, I am going to say this, because this is plot related, which means Sober Sack. I'm looking at you, Sober Sack. You can't cut this fucking out. Drunk Sack's going rogue. Is FNC fuckable? I've seen more fuckable guns, is what I'll say. I have seen guns I would fuck harder than Funko. I love that the Mal page, on the other hand, gives you the exact details of how the gun works. Rifle rate 8.47 pounds. Carbine is 8.2 pounds. Extended stock 30.2 inches folded. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I would expect everyone to watch Upote. Remember, you're watching Upote. You don't have to watch Upote Warate, which I will probably watch. And I might mention at the end whenever the next episode of this podcast comes up. But you do not have to watch Wapate Miyate Warate. You don't have to watch that. You just have to watch Upote. So watch Upote. I expect everyone to have watched Upote by the next episode of the Cold Topic Podcast. And that's the end of this segment.